Good afternoon, and welcome to another expletive deleted version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Well, here's your exotic and esoteric host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Okay, I wanted to fit in a diatribe before I go to work. I always waste most of my day watching YouTube and then sleeping and not getting anything done, and then I wait till the last minute and decide to do a diatribe when I'm under pressure. But I wanted to cover a couple subjects today, and one has nothing to do with the other. But I wanted to get in my theory about some of the weirdness that's going on the planet today. And why? Because I'm not one who just watches things happen and remain perplexed. I want to know why. And I've come up with my own theories about certain things, thanks to my Buddhist studies and practice. And I was just browsing through things in YouTube, and I see things from TikTok where everyone identifies as something else. They identify as a female, they identify as a male, they identify as neither, they identify as a dog or a cat or a wolf or a spirit or a spirit guide or whatever. And then I also look on YouTube and see child prodigies playing instruments such as the piano in amazing ways, and they're 6 years old. And I'm wondering, why are these things happening? Now, there's always been child prodigies, but even Mozart, when he was 6, was rather elemental and basic in his compositions and the way he played. He played like a 6-year-old who was a genius, who had innate capabilities, and was encouraged and trained by his father. And what I'm seeing now is beyond what could be explained as reality, because 6-year-olds are playing pieces by Chopin, and they're playing concertos, and they haven't been on this planet long enough to be able to do it by honing their skills. They are born with something, and by the time they're 6, they're playing amazing things, polonaises, and very complicated piano works when they're 6. Now, you can't say that they've practiced all their life, because their life has not been that long. So something's going on this planet, and I think I know what it is, but it's hard to explain, and I don't understand it myself. But we're reaching a tipping point in our existence where perhaps the conflagration and the apocalypse is happening, and in the process of the apocalypse happening, past, present, and future are merging in a very Buddhistic way, because everything's connected in time and space and phenomena. And I can't go too deep into that, otherwise I'll use up the whole thing. But somehow people are more in touch with their past, whether it be billions of lifetimes ago or whether it be one lifetime ago. As I've said before, we all live forever. The Christian dogma is correct in that. Life is eternal. What happens in that span of time without beginning to time without end is subject to debate, but all life is indistinguishable. When this body decays, the life force inside me will go on to something else. We will get on into that later. But somehow time, space, and our awareness of what we were and what we will be are merging into one reality. That's why you see so much of this transgender business. It's not just because they're being indoctrinated or thinking that to be part of the bandwagon they got to be different, and then eventually they won't be different because everybody will be transgender, or everybody will be a dog or a cat. Everybody will be something other than what they are. So that's the explanation about why that's happening, and I'll get more into that later. But I wanted to give you that as something to kind of think about. But the main thesis of my, main subject of my diatribe today is phrases I hate, which one of my first few diatribes 2 years ago, I did phrases I hate. And I don't want to repeat many of those, but I want to go on and just say how I'm so sick of the same platitudes and the same idiocy, especially from the corrupt, vile demons that are running what used to be this country. So let's go down the list a bit about phrases I hate and why. One phrase I hate is when Petri Dish or any of his ilk use the term MAGA, fill in the blank. MAGA Republicans, MAGA judges, MAGA, MAGAs, whatevers. Whenever they use that phrase, they're trying to vilify, make America great again, and people who believe in that and still have hopes that it can be done. Now, I don't want to get into whether America was great or whether it will be great or is great now. I could give two rips about that. But whenever Petri Dish talks about the MAGA Republicans, he's trying to instill some thought in our heads that these people are against us and they're evil. And many segments of the corrupt establishment are saying that Petri Dish should ignore any ruling by a MAGA judge. Now, if we're going to start getting into who's a MAGA judge and who's not and whether we should follow their rules, then the next time I get a traffic ticket, I'll either not show up, or when I do show up, I will show contempt. Because why should I respect a judicial system which is corrupt to the bone? And if I spend a few weeks in jail for it, well. Okay, another phrase I hate is political stunt. This is all just a political stunt. These hearings about the sins of the no-account son and his father is nothing but a political stunt. All this evidence they're coming up with and whistleblowing. Now, whenever I hear the word political stunt, I know that somebody's doing something effective, because that's their way of replying to something that they know is going to hurt them. So they call it a political stunt. Hate that phrase. Another phrase I hate in that same ilk is bombshell. It's a bombshell. The no-account son, his plea deal may be falling through. It's a bombshell. Petri Dish is, found to have lied about something. It's always a bombshell. And the same thing that happens with the, calling things a bombshell, because you want clicks on your little YouTube thing. So you say bombshell. Everything's a bombshell. Look at that long-necked giraffe when Orangey was in office. Every little thing. The gardener in the White House was, his grandfather was Russian. So you see how there's a Russian connection. It's a bombshell, everybody. The walls are closing in. There's another one. The walls are always closing in, but they never shut. Just like in Batman when the walls are closing in, and so they prop themselves up and throw a bat hook into it and make it stop. So the walls will never close in far enough for me. When I see the two walls meeting together, with the establishment political system in the middle, then I'll know that it's finally closed in. I hate this phrase. The cover-up is worse than the crime. They always say that, as if, it's not so bad what you did, but the fact that you tried to hide it is horrible. Petri dish. The cover-up is worse than the crime. No, his crimes are worse. His crimes are myriad, and he should pay the penalty as every other part of the common clay would have to pay penalties of losing their freedom for the rest of their life. If any of us did what he's done, cover-up is worse than the crime. Hate that. Currently under investigation. We can't talk about that because it's currently under investigation. Well, everything's currently under investigation. Well, what about the investigation? Well, we can't talk about that because it's under investigation. It's a perfect, Gordian knot to be able to say nothing about anything, because if they say anything about anything, they'll be hung. Currently under investigation. Or the exact opposite of that, that's already been investigated. I hear Karine Jean-Pierre say that constantly. Some part of the Fourth Estate finally says something like, well, what about these Hunter Biden allegations? And she's like, that's old news. That's already been investigated, as if it's already been put to bed. Yeah, the D's put it to bed when they were in office. And now the Goppers come into office and they're investigating, and it's all like, why are you reinvestigating what we already decided was nothing? Hate it. Hate that. Getting to the bottom. We're going to get to the bottom of everything. Let's see them get to the bottom. They can go down to the bottom and find out everything that's going on. We all know that's not going to happen. And I've already told you why. First of all, they get to the bottom of everything, they're going to bring themselves down, and they'll be at the bottom. To get to the bottom of everything, you have to go down there. So, I didn't say a whole lot. I just wanted to get this in, just to do a diatribe, and I think I said some stuff for you to think about. But I really get sick of these phrases, especially the MAGA, when Petrie has to put MAGA in front of everything that is going against him. It's just so irritating. It just makes my blood actually literally boil, and it's not good for my physical well-being. So I try not to let it get to me too much, but it's very maddening, and it should be maddening to everyone. There's not one person on this planet that should not be indignant about the blatant impunicity of the ruling elite. And they should all be dealt with in a draconian way. But I don't like any of those phrases. Get sick of hearing them. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. Did I have anything else to say? I'm sure I did. But we'll see what happens. They're investigating everything, so we should have some bombshells coming soon. And hopefully those MAGA Republicans get to the bottom of the cover-up being worse than the crime. So we'll leave it there, and have a good day, and enjoy what's left of existence.